Good afternoon, viewers and listeners. This afternoon, we are glad that you're watching because we've prepared for you a mindset change. How about that? We do have with us Alfred Warui, who is going to be taking us through the paradigm shift that we need to have. Welcome, Mr. Warui.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate even because of this opportunity. And I also take this chance to welcome our viewers.
Yes.
So it will be great, even as we continue to share on this topic, topic that I love, that is on how we can be able to change our mindset and how we can even be able to do our business better with a better or with a renewed mindset.
All right.
So I appreciate the opportunity. I am a business trainer with Smelting Africa Consultant, and I look forward to quite a good time and free interaction.
Yes, welcome. We're looking forward to learn. I mean, like, as because most of us we are believers. I want to believe that, and we would like to know: should we be changing our mindset when it comes to concerning businesses as Christians? What kind of mindset should we have?
It is true that it's quite important that on our end. It's just like for a farmer, you would realize that just before you get your seed on the ground, you would still want to do some preparation on the ground.
True.
So, and it's also the same thing even with our mind. You might find a scenario where perhaps the current paradigm or the current kind of mindset that you have might have been favorable for something different.
Okay.
Like let's say, for instance, you are in a formal employment and you are thinking of switching into something like, business.
It's okay.
So, and you are thinking of how you can be able now to get into a business. So, the kind of mindset that you previously had, it was favorable for employment. So now, if you are to get into business with an end of month paycheck mindset, then you'll find yourself disappointed in the business. So it's quite important that you are able to align your mindset so that it will be favorable for that which you are pursuing. So as Christians, it's important that we are able to change our mindset even as we get into business.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. There we get it that we are supposed to change our minds from employment to business because the business might take time to take off. I think that is where you want why we need to change our minds because the end of the month you might not have anything.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Take us through. Take us through.
And thank you. And just to give it even just more explanation on the same. So I would want just to talk about, it was more of a research. So there was a case study that was done because I would want just to affirm why it is important for us to really work on our mindset.
All right, Flo.
And there was this case study. It was a research that was done, and there were some two monkeys, and they were placed in cages. So each was on a separate cage. So what happened is that for these monkeys, they were subjected to a different routine.
Right.
So one would be fed very well. It would have breakfast in the morning. It will have lunch on time.
Okay.
It will have supper. So you'll find if it is the breakfast, sometimes it will miss the breakfast. If it is lunch, sometimes it will miss lunch.
Okay.
And if it was lucky, sometimes it will get now the supper.
Dinner.
So this happened for quite some time. And then
Right.
one day, they were subjected to the same routine. And what happened is that they were given some what happened is that they were denied the breakfast.
Both of the
Both of
monkeys.
them.
Okay.
And then for the lunch, they were also denied the lunch. So now when it was time for dinner, they were served the dinner.
Okay.
But it was now quite interesting to see what happened.
Yes.
Because they were served with bananas. And they were to be observed for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And one thing was noted. I don't know what would be your expectation for the two different monkeys.
Yeah.
So, but one thing that came out is that they behaved different.
Both of them, of
Yeah,
course.
both of them. So the one that was used to a routine, immediately the bananas were shared. They just started enjoying the bananas.
Okay.
So it had its first banana, but the other one, by the time the 5 minutes were over, it had still not started eating. I don't know whether you'd want to guess what it was doing.
I would like to guess. I don't want to guess what it was doing, but
Yes.
I'm wondering why exactly would it eat? Because it normally gets and it doesn't get. Why would it eat the banana?
So what happened, it was actually quite interesting because for the 5 minutes, it was very busy digging some holes and hiding the bananas.
Oh no.
So, and the rationale behind the whole thing, the mindset was different.
Yes.
So the one that was used to a routine feeding. So for it, perhaps this was a bad day. So it knew that the breakfast will still be served on time.
Oh, it didn't have any problem of thinking I am going to get. There's no scarcity mentality.
Yes, there was no scarcity mentality. So the
Ah,
other
yeah.
one was still not sure whether these bananas will be snatched from me. So it needed to
Anytime.
spend as much time as possible just hiding the bananas.
Yes.
So just in case they are snatched or I miss the breakfast tomorrow,
Yeah.
at least I have some stock.
Oh no.
So this was a scenario to present to us about the mindset.
Yes.
So that an opportunity was presented to these two monkeys. And one monkey took advantage of the opportunity because the mindset was favorable for this. The other one, it wasted actually the opportunity because within those 5 minutes, it was not doing anything. It was just busy hiding. And in life, there are those opportunities that present themselves to us.
Yes.
But the state of our mind, either at times because of our past experience,
Okay.
at times you can find that we easily lose those opportunities because our mindset
We're not
is still
prepared.
tied to our past. So that is why as
Right.
believers it is important. Even as much as we are born again, even as much as we have known the Lord, it's also good that we continue working on our mindset. No wonder in the book of Romans we are reminded of the importance of changing our mindset,
Yes.
getting renewed in the way we think. So it's quite important.
Yes, now I see why it is very important for that renewal of our mind, because you might have the past as your bondage. Some of us are tied to the past so much that we can't see any open doors.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so sad. Wow. Okay, yeah, let's continue. What do you have for us today?
And just to build more on the same part of the mindset, so I think it's also good that we help our viewers to appreciate when we talk of this mindset. What is
What
it
is
exactly
mindset?
that we are talking about? So when you talk of the mindset, you are more of referring to a pattern of thinking.
Right.
So there is a way, if you saw something happening, like let's say, if you hear some noise, chances are high, depending with our past experience, we are likely to react differently.
True.
So for someone who has been an area that has been vulnerable to crime, like even in the cases of, the Al-Shabaab and the likes, so the moment there is just some commotion, so the person might become a little bit quite alarmed, imagining that it's
It's
another
the
attack.
Al-Shabaab, yeah.
But again now, for someone who has been used to a peaceful environment, and those cases have not been there, so when there is a commotion, the person can imagine perhaps it's a tire bus somewhere.
Yeah.
So the two people will think differently
True.
because what has been fed into their mind, what is the basis, the basis that they have for interpreting the reality is different.
Yes.
So over time, as we continue to grow, those experiences that we encounter, they always shape our thinking.
Wow.
Whenever something happens, our mind will refer to our subconscious, and it will inquire.
What
So
is
if it
supposed to
inquires and whatever feedback is being given is a negative one, then you'll find the person behaving in a negative way. So, but if the reference is done to our mind, to our subconscious mind, and then the response we get is a positive one,
Yeah.
then you'll find, even if it was a stranger that you are meeting, even if it was someone that you are meeting, and then the reference is positive, you can easily be warm to that stranger.
Yeah.
But if the reference that is given is a negative one, you'll find yourself even giving the person, a kind of a look that is showing that that the
not-
person is not welcome.
Yes.
So when you talk of the mindset, you are talking about the pattern of thinking.
Right. So are we right to say that as a man thinketh,
Yes.
so is he?
So he is.
Wow.
Because whenever something surfaces to you, even if it's a good thing, even if you meet with a nature, and the mindset that you have, it is so much conscious of the devil, then you still find yourself imagining that
Thinking
even
that
that
it's the
is still
devil.
the devil.
Yeah.
So it's quite something for us.
Wow. And is it possible to change the mindset or to change the way of thinking, irrespective of where you've come from, your background, your experiences? Is it possible to change your mind?
Yeah, one good thing I like about this issue of the mindset, when you look at a child, we are always told that, and it's something that has been scientifically proved,
Okay.
that when we are born, we are actually born with a blank page.
Yes.
Our mind is a blank page. So all those things we do today, they are things that we have been able to learn. So whether you learn it at the family level, whether you learn it at the school, whether you learn it about it from your peers, so these are things that we have been able to learn over time.
Right.
And the good thing is, the same way that we have learned those things,
we can
we
unlearn
can be able to unlearn them,
Awesome.
and we can be able to learn new
things.
So no wonder now the Bible is talking authoritatively in the book of Romans about, about us changing our thinking. Let's be so it's actually now giving a basis that there is something that is doable. It's something that is possible, that we can change the way we think, and then from there we can be able to see things differently. So it's true, and it's possible that our mindset can be changed.
Awesome. That is good to know, because some of us, we really need to change our minds. And also when it comes to kingdom mindset, because some of us kind of shy, maybe they shy away from the business world just because they some experience that was not very good while dealing with the people outside the comfort area of ours, which is in the Christian circle. So what do we tell those people?
When it comes to this group, one thing that we'd want to tell them, the most important thing is for them to acknowledge first that there is a problem somewhere.
Okay.
And the moment we acknowledge that there is a problem somewhere, then somewhere we are now able to ask ourselves, how do we go about this? Because it's very hard to deal with a problem that we've not actually been able to know and even appreciate that it's there. So, and one thing that I would want to tell them is that, first of all, just be able to assess yourself. Get to see, because sometimes you find yourself trying several things, but at times you might find you are not getting any different results. So chances are high, when you find yourself getting the same results, chances are high the formula still remain the same.
Yes.
So, and at that point you don't ask yourself, where do I need to make a change?
Yes.
And now when you identify those areas, now you're able to make the change. And like I may even also give this example of like now in our education system.
Yes.
So most of the times, most of the people, even as we are graduating, we are actually prepared for employment.
Oh, yes.
And when you look at the issue of the unemployment that we are facing, so you'll find that the change of mindset is actually right now becoming the way to go. We do this training for the business, and you'll find some of these people who are said to have dropped the school along the way, perhaps someone went up to Form 4. It's very easier for the person to start a business and proceed.
Wow.
But for some of the people who have graduated, so there is this kind of a perception that even if I start a business, it is just something to hold on to for a while
Before I go back
get
to employment.
So meaning that even if you're starting that business, you are not seeing the future for that business.
Right.
So for that person, if he is to succeed, then it's quite important that the person changes their mindset and appreciate that we still have graduates who are doing business and they are doing very well. And even where is the problem? Even if you run your business and you become the employer,
True.
so it will actually be an advantage to your head. So the issue of acknowledging and knowing that it is something that needs to be changed, and knowing that it is something that can be changed, then that's quite important for our viewers, that they can be able to appreciate that.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Okie dokie. There you are. There you go. I do hope you've had your pens and your papers. We will take a short break to sip some water, and we will be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, our viewers and listeners. We had earlier on, we know that we need to acknowledge where we are at so as we can be able to change our mindset. Take us on, Mr. Waroi.
So thank you very much, Anne. And again, I take the chance to again welcome our viewers from the break.
Yes.
And we continue with the issue of the mindset. And just to take again us back to the Bible, so I would also want to refer to a story that still help us to appreciate more about the mindset.
Okay.
And this is the famous parable of the talents. So, and in this parable, that is in the book of Matthew 25,
Yes.
so from verse 14 to 30. So we are told of these servants who they had their master. So and master came to a point when the master needed to take a leave, and he gave them some talents. So to one it was given 5, so to the other it was given 2, and to the other it was given 1.
Yes.
And I think somehow the master seemed to have understood his people. So he said he gave them according to their
Ability.
to their abilities.
Yes.
So meaning that even for this person who was being given 5, so the master knew that this person is capable of doing something about the 5 to make them more. So this person who was given 2, he was still capable of doing something with the 2. So and even this person who was given 1, he was still capable of doing something with this 1.
Right. Okay.
So and it came to a surprise that when the master came back, he noted that for this one who had 5, he came with a lot of excitement, and he said, "You gave me 5, and look, I have 5 more. I have made them 10." So to the one who was given 2, he also came with excitement, and he said, "You gave me 2, and I have made them 4." And the master was quite happy until
The last one.
the last person came in, and I think it spoiled the mood.
Yes.
And the person said, "Look here, I know who you are. I know the kind of person that you are. You like harvesting where you never even invested anything." So, and he had something to show. Apart from thinking negatively about the master, it was evident from the result that he had been able to acquire.
Yes.
So he said clearly, so all that I did, I took the 1 talent, I went with it, and I decided to hide it somewhere.
Yes.
And here I am with your 1 talent. So you thought that you are the clever one. No, you have found now your match. And you are not going to reap anymore where you never sowed anything.
Yeah.
So and you see the kind of reaction that the master had now to this servant.
Yes.
Compared with the kind of excitement that he had with the other 2.
The other 2, yeah.
So this one was just thrown out. And I tend to think that even for us as Christians,
Yes.
so we might have our own different reactions to the opportunities that come our way. Someone might feel that the Lord placed me in an environment where my parents could not take me to school.
Okay.
So, and this person might feel it's like so and so is more privileged. So for them, they are favored.
Yes.
So someone might feel that I was born in a family where perhaps I even never found the parents. Perhaps the parents passed on when I was young.
Okay.
Someone might feel that when others were being born in US, I was born in Kenya, not just in Kenya, but I was born somewhere in a slum.
Yeah.
So and when we come, when we look at God through some of these different kind of perspectives, so you might find there is someone, even when there is something that the Lord has given you,
Truly, yeah.
you might find there is someone who live the whole of their life just complaining.
Right.
That look at what happened when I was in primary, look at what happened when I was in high school, look at what happened when I was in college, look at what happened when I was in my 40s. So before you realize, you are
10 years
almost being
gone.
summoned back home. And at that point, you've not done anything much. And I don't know, when the Lord now will be asking you, I gave you this potential, I gave you this talent. And someone, I don't know how now we would be able to face him, where you are saying that, by the way, I know, there will be so many explanations that at times we would want to give. But one thing that is important for our viewers to appreciate, even if you are born in a very humble place. Even if you have quite a painful beginning.
Experience.
You know, it's the same Bible that will tell us, don't despise a humble beginning.
Beginnings, yes.
So because wherever you start, it does
It is
not
not-
mean that you are limited to that point.
True.
And
there's
you never
also the
know, you know,
master-
the Lord knows our abilities.
Yes.
So if you are brought up in that harboring background, the Lord knows that you are able to turn things around. You know, you are, you know, whatever it is that is in you, the Lord knows that it is too, you know, it is too powerful for it to be contained by that humble background.
Yes.
And as you live through to that calling, you'll find yourself turning things around. You are born
Right.
in a slum, but you are able to turn things around, even not just for your own good, but even for the other people,
Yes.
even in that area. So the issue of the mindset was clearly again demonstrated in that parable of the talent.
Right.
So someone will start with a kiosk, and he might interpret that, you know, when the
This-
Lord is blessing others with the supermarket,
Wholesale.
so for me, he has only blessed me with a kiosk.
Yes.
And you know, and with you know, with this kind of an understanding, even the way we approach God, even the way we approach Him, when you make a profit of 200, and there is someone else
Making
moving all the way to the back, and it's not
thousands.
just going to any counter, it's going to, you know, to the counter where
corporates.
perhaps the corporate.
Yes.
And for you now, you are saying that, look here, you know, the Lord gave me one, and I feel like I don't
Never
even want to testify about it. You know, when others are talking about, you know, the millions that they have made, I don't
Yes.
feel like I want to celebrate my
Even
100.
the 200,
Yeah.
yes.
So these are some of the mindsets that we need to change, because
Wow.
if we can be entrusted with the little, then it will mean the same way that the Lord can see us being faithful with the
little,
200.
yes.
Then it will also mean that this God would still be sure that even when I entrust you with a million, it will still not make you see, no, it will still not turn you crazy. You will still remain faithful.
Yes.
So the issue of the mindset in a big way, also even it affects how we relate with our masters. And
Right.
as Christians, it's good to acknowledge that it even affects how we relate with our God.
Yes, and
There
he
are
is our
some
major
that will
master.
blame God for all our problems.
Yes.
Where
And the
he has-
devil.
Yeah, there's
They
some
also
that will
blame the
blame
devil.
God more than even the devil.
Yeah.
And they will say that, you know, but then when this was happening, where was
Where
he?
was God?
When this
Yes.
was happening, where was he?
Yes.
But we have still seen stories of entrepreneurs. Some who have had even their businesses at some point, they were doing very well, and something happened, they had to start from the scratch.
Zero again.
And those stories, they are there. Every entrepreneur will tell you about their story. They will tell you there were ups and there were downs. So if they were to choose to remain at that point of their own moment when the business was not performing, so these people would be complaining. But because they persisted, but the reason why they were again persisting is because in their mind, they knew that it's just a season
Right.
and I'll be able to overcome.
We need to see times as seasons, not where we are at as if it's a permanent way of living or
Very true.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I actually never saw the talents parable in a mindset way. That is really, really mind blowing, and I hope you're taking points, because how is it that the one who buried their talent is equivalent to complaining? Actually, because when you're complaining, you're not looking at what you have, you're looking at what you don't have, and that is why you're complaining. Wow.
It's
Okay.
very true. It's very true. And you know, one good thing I like, I think God must have. You know, if you really want to run a business, in Bible you'll find there are clear demonstrations that will make you a great entrepreneur. And I always love referring to the scriptures
Yes.
when it comes to even talking about business, because I think God still remain.
God is
perhaps
into business. The Bible
yeah,
is a business
he's
book.
he must be the best entrepreneur you can
True.
ever want to emulate.
True.
So, and it's quite important, you know, these three servants, they were under the same master, under the same conditions,
Yeah.
but totally different reaction. So the same thing for us, opportunities will appear to us, but they will find another person in a point of celebration where they are ready to snatch an opportunity, and it will find another person at a point of grabbing, where the opportunity will easily be taken by the other person who is ready. You know, I read something that someone said that when you are talking of success, you are talking about a scenario where preparation has met with opportunity.
Preparedness, yes.
You know, in fact, but then in fact, that you even did put it very well, that you are talking of that scenario where preparation is meeting with
Preparedness.
the
Preparedness means
preparation is
opportunity.
meeting with the opportunity
Yes,
actually.
yes.
So and that is where success will come in. So now the unfortunate thing is when the opportunity comes your way and you are not prepared because your mind cannot even recognize
It is
that
an
this is an opportunity. So where you are supposed to be opening your heart, you'll find that is the time when you are casting.
Yeah.
And this becomes quite an unfortunate thing. And you'll find that at times you may not really blame the person because all of us, we have been brought up in a society.
True.
And there are those things that the society believes in.
Yeah.
Like now when you look at it from even a Christian perspective, even from where we are coming from as far as our traditions are concerned. So it was known even sometimes when a child from a certain family will pass in the KCSE, people knew that there is nowhere that the person is going
Even if
because
it
the
passes.
father is a drunkard. People would have their own stories.
Yes.
And sometimes you might find someone who has a lot of potential, but when you look at their family, nobody has made progress. So people know that even this one, it's
Not
only
going
just for a
anywhere.
matter of months, and you see that the person will not go anywhere. And when some of these things happens to us, at times we also tend to agree with what the society is saying,
Yeah.
that everyone knows.
That I am
Even
not
my
going
teachers
anywhere.
know that there is nowhere I'm going. Everyone in the village knows that nobody in my family has even ever
Achieved
run
anything.
a business that succeeded.
Wow.
So when we look at ourselves through those eyes of the society, at times you can find ourselves limiting ourselves because what we see in ourselves, how we, the future that we see for ourselves is the future that has been defined by
By
the
others.
circumstances around us, and the others, they have been looking at what they have been observing from us.
Yeah.
But
Which shouldn't be so.
That should not be the case.
Yeah.
And that is why like now for us as the Christians, even as we come to the Lord, so one of the things that the Lord is encouraging us that we need to do for us to be partakers of his promises is to change that mindset.
Okay.
So if you are looking at yourself through what your uncle said, if you are looking at yourself through what someone else said, now you are able to look at yourself through what God says.
Yes.
And right now I write something that is noted in the book of Proverbs 18:16, that the gift that the Lord has given to you, a man's gift,
Yeah.
will
Open
make you
door.
even go and meet
The
great
kings.
kings.
Yes.
So meaning, and we have seen it happening. We have seen even there are times that the president, just because a child was able to perform very well in a music festival, you have seen a scenario where the president has ended up awarding that family,
That's
even a house,
Yes.
simply because the gift in a child
Has brought
has
him.
brought even the king to see what is happening in that family.
Yes.
So this child had a gift. So the child took advantage of the gift, and the gift took the child to where the king is.
Yes.
And when you have an encounter with the king, see what
Things
happens later.
changes.
Things change.
Wow.
So even for us, yes, I may be born in a time when perhaps people are saying, there are no jobs. At a time when people are saying, this and this is happening, this and this is happening.
And especially COVID.
Yes.
Encourage the viewers and the listeners. COVID has come, maybe someone has lost their job, and someone also, maybe their salary was truncated and they're wondering, how do I change my mindset? As in, how do I also see this is what I was having and this is where I was living, and now they have to change that because of now the amount that they're having. How would you tell those people?
And we still find ourselves again back to the same issue of appreciating that this is just but a season. And one thing that is important for us to appreciate is that time and seasons will always happen to us.
True.
And one good thing to know is that I might, I might be a stranger to a certain season. Like this COVID is not something like any of us
Ever
may have,
expected.
may say that he has an experience. So all of us, we are runners in this. But one good thing is that our God is not a runner in this.
No.
So he already but understood the whole thing from the beginning to the end.
Yes.
So when we look at it, that yes, I may not understand this, but I know my God understands this. So I may not understand about this cycle, but I know that my God understands about it.
True.
So putting our trust in God and knowing that just like the way he will remind us that everything works together
for
good
of those who love him.
for those who love him.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we that is now the kind of the paradigm.
That's like a
That is the kind
mindset
of the
also.
mindset
Yes.
that the Lord desires that we work with.
Alright.
But the moment we work with the worldly mindset, then the thing that we'll be seeing is just doom.
Yeah, and
You know,
frustration.
that you just started a business, perhaps it is a startup. It had not even stabilized, and then
Then
COVID
it
has
failed.
come.
Yes.
So you'll find the person saying, I'm even now starting to, I feel like, there are people even who would go ahead and commit suicide.
Yes.
So there are people who will say that, look here, I've been trusting God for a job. You remember I even told a friend of mine, we were praying about it, we have been fasting about it. Then when this job came,
God
even
will
before I had received my first salary, now here we are, again I'm back to the drawing board. I have received the letter from the HR, the job is normal. But you see now, the way the Lord wants us to understand is that even before you had that job, when you are still trusting Him for that job, He's the one who had preserved you.
True.
And even now, at this point when that job is normal, He's still the one who will open another door for you. You never know. He might even be having a better place for you.
True.
So when we reason in such a manner, then we will find ourselves in every situation. We will find strength.
Yes.
Strength to appreciate our God, strength to worship Him, and strength to face tomorrow. That in the midst of all these challenges, we can face tomorrow.
Yes.
And one thing that you'll be sure, it's possible that in the midst of a crisis, there is an opportunity.
True.
And the moment we are wired in the right way, the moment in us our hearts are responsive, then even in such a period, you are still able to hear that still voice telling you
Which
that,
way you should go.
this is the way
You
that you
should
should
go.
go.
Yeah.
So because again you are finding a scenario where at times because of the frustration and the fear, so there are some people who would invest out of fear. Now the job is gone. You are going to receive your 100,000 shillings. Perhaps that was the saving that the employer had for you.
Yeah.
And then you are looking at it tomorrow. I have rent to pay. I have school fees to pay. And then someone will decide, let me just go and just open any business. Some will talk of
Yes.
any business. They'll even ask you, I will
Which
just give me a business that I can
plan.
start.
Yeah.
So, and the person will go ahead and invest. But you are investing out of fear.
Yes.
So then, in a matter of a few months, the
Your
business
fears
is
turn
down.
out.
The 100,000 shillings
It's
is gone. The business is gone. And now you are even more bitter with God, more than you are with Him even before. And it becomes quite an unfortunate thing.
Wow.
But if you are to acknowledge that everything happens together for good, then you'll be interested with understanding what good
Was it?
do this opportunity or do this crisis
Crisis
has
bring.
for me.
Yeah.
And at that point now you'll be able to, wait and hear the still voice
Yes.
telling you that this is the way that you should go. So that would be my advice to even our friends who may even have been laid off, that even in the midst of that situation, God still has something for you.
True.
And the moment you look at it that way, now you avoid making, emotional decisions.
Yes.
And you'll be able to make a decision, whether it is to invest. You invest having done your assessment well, because you are not investing out of panic. Because one thing with business, the business will not reciprocate with emotions.
No.
The reality will hit you hard.
Yeah.
So it's important that even during this period, let's just know that God is in control. And when we know that God is in control, then we would really be able to take our seat and wait on Him. So
Yeah.
even through it all, we will still be able to emerge even strong. So we will not find ourselves getting into suicide. We will not find ourselves getting into depression.
Yeah.
We will not find ourselves getting into drugs and alcoholism, because we are trying to bury
To
the
get
past.
away,
Sometimes
yes.
someone might have to readjust. You are driving, but now you are using the public means.
yes.
You know, it does not change God. Even in that matatu, you still
No, he is
experience
still God.
God in that
True,
matatu. So the
true.
moment we look at it that way, even if you relocated from perhaps a prestigious place that you are
Yeah.
living, you know, even if you moved to a place that you feel it is somehow
Little lower.
humbling, you still know that He is God.
Yes.
And He is the same God who moved me from even
This
a
point.
more humbling place to a
To the
better place.
prestigious
So,
one,
and you
yeah.
know that He still can do it.
Mm.
So, and I write something that there is this song that says that 4 days late, but still on time.
Right.
Yes,
The
so-
Lazarus situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jesus was 4 days late,
But
and
he was
everyone
still
thought
on
that
time.
it's gone, it's over.
Yes.
But look at it, Jesus was still on time.
Wow.
So He came and the miracle was there. So let's not tire waiting on Him. Let's keep our mind attuned
Set
to
on
hear
Him.
from Him and set on Him.
Mm.
But the only thing that would help us to do that is again how
Change of
our
mindset
mindset
is.
is.
Yeah, I've actually learned, or what I am picking from you,
Yes.
our prayers ought to be, the mindset in our prayer need to change. Because sometimes we go to God, like, I mean, can't you just see what's going on? Like, you are not seeing, can you do this? Because, like, in our panic mode, or when we find, like, situation or crisis, we go to God in crisis, forgetting that He is God. It's not that He doesn't know. He does know. So we need to change even the mindset in prayer, whereby, like you said, that the Romans 8:28, where we have all things work
Yes,
together
yes,
for good.
Yes.
That is a powerful way of looking at it with a changed mindset, because I do know that verse. I have quoted it many times, but I have not quoted it in a way that in my mind I would see this is a mind shift. It needs a shift to look at it. What do I mean when I'm saying that? Do I really mean it? Because sometimes we quote verses and we are oblivious.
Yeah, sure. And it just reminds me of, even of this story.
Yeah.
I write stories.
Yeah, I love stories because they make sense to put a point across.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was this time this child was one of the passengers in an aeroplane, and they were I don't know the plane was headed to which direction,
Right.
and it came to a point when the unfortunate thing is that here on the road, if there is a problem, you can always park aside
Park
and
aside.
see where the problem is. But now there was a problem,
Yes.
and everyone was so sure that we seems to be in for a big trouble. We are in danger. Anything can happen. So I don't really recall exactly whether it was an issue to do with the storms. So, but there was a problem. Whether it was mechanical or whether it was
Or a turbulence.
from the storm, I may not recall exactly. But what was interesting is an observation that was made, because in that plane